Okay, so now what we're going to do in lesson 3.4 is we're actually going to dive a little deeper into some of the details of how taxes are really computed. And obviously you've got the federal structure, but there are some other things to know about. So when you actually file your taxes, depending on the situation that you're in, you can claim what are known as deductions. If your parents own a business, they'll be very familiar with this because business owners can claim a lot of deductions. Any business expenses, anything that they pay out to run the business, is actually deducted from their income because that's money that they didn't actually make. It's money that they spent. So a deduction is an amount of money that is subtracted from your income. Now, there are a lot of rules around deductions, lots of rules of what you can deduct and what you can't deduct and all this kind of stuff. Now, typically when you work for an employer, you typically don't have many deductions. So there is a way to sort of take your deductions and say, okay, well, I'm not going to make a list of all my deductions. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take something called the standard deduction. The standard deduction is an amount of money that you can claim to subtract from your income without having to provide the documentation of why you can deduct the income. And this is a typical thing that a 20-something-year-old going to their first job would do. You would be, if you're at a job where an employer is paying you, you're typically not going to do something called itemized deductions, which is where you have to kind of prove what it is that you are reducing your income by. And the rules have changed around this since 2017 with a new tax plan. I'll leave out the details, but the standard deduction for a single filer in 2019, the standard deduction for a single person, because you can file either single or married when you file your taxes, the standard deduction was, is $12,200. So regardless of the amount of money you can deduct $12,200 off of your income tax. Or I shouldn't say off of your income tax, I should say off of your income. So when I go to my spreadsheet now, let's say I start with $100,000, and this is the spreadsheet that you have. Let's say we take the standard deduction, and that's the deduction that you can deduct without having to document the number, and this is what most people do, especially when they don't own a business, would be $12,200. And so your taxable income would be, let's say if I made $100,000, I'm allowed to subtract $12,200. And now your taxable income is $87,800. This is your new taxable income. This is what you will actually start to tax. And so what you're going to do is you're going to take this number, whatever's here, and now you're going to fill out the federal income tax chart. I put the boundaries in for you already. And you can compute your total federal tax and effective average rate. Don't fill out Social Security and Medicare tax. That's the next video. Thanks, guys.